without further ado, let me introduce you to our cultural mindsets decoded. Um, Lori, you know, this is your session. You created this, so take it away.
Thank you, Robert, and good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. Thank you for joining us today. We're super excited, actually. I was texting Robert earlier because I'm not sure that he had realized that this is our 10th year as the title sponsor of the Latina South Business Series. So we are super excited about that and the continued partnership with Robert, Lupita, and the rest of the team. Nationwide, our mission is to protect people, businesses, and futures with extraordinary care. And we are definitely super committed to the Hispanic community and to supporting programs like the Business Series. And very excited to be bringing you relevant and meaningful content to help you elevate your business. And so, with that said, I'm super excited that we were able to develop this new series, which is only here at the Latina South Business Series. And we developed it with Valeria Aloe. The whole point of this wonderful series that we'll develop over the next few stops is to give you tools and insights that are going to help you to go from great to extraordinary. And that is by uncovering and conquering limiting cultural mindsets. Cositas que aprendimos desde pequeños, things that we learned since we were little, that perhaps, our parents didn't think that they meant anything or that they would, be limiting our potential, but that over the years, perhaps having allowed us to really reach that maximum potential. So you might remember Valeria, as she was one of my guests during one of last year's Fireside Chat. Valeria Aloe is a native of General Belgrano in Argentina, and she's also the CEO and founder of Abundancia Consciente. She is an award-winning entrepreneur, consultant, speaker, wife, and mother, and now also an author, as she is launching a book titled Uncolonized Latinas later this year. And so with that, bienvenida, Valeria, and take it away.
Gracias, Lori. Hola a todos. I'm so thankful to be here again. And very excited to introduce this information and get ready to challenge yourself and your mindset and how you have been thinking things. So as we get started, please feel free to use the chat to engage. I will be asking you to do that, and also the Q&A feature to ask any questions. And we're going to start this session with a question for you. Have you ever felt like you're not good enough or not qualified for your job, a promotion, or a business opportunity? And here I want to make sure that I share that if you have felt this way, it's not personal. For Latinas, it's cultural. This is a mindset. And it's a mindset that with the world changing in the way that it's changing, it does not serve us any longer. It's completely outdated. And as opportunities open up, it's holding us back. What's also a little dangerous about this mindset is that it's quite unconscious. So it can really drive our behaviors and our decisions without us being completely aware of it. So we are here to decode it, to decode the scarcity mindset. And let's first define it. Scarcity is the belief that there will never be enough or that you can never do enough, resulting in feelings of fear, stress, and anxiety. And the research that I've been conducting for my book shows that this feeling is most common for immigrant Latinas like myself, or daughters of immigrants, because we're generally those ones who are trailblazers. We're the first ones to go after an education in college or a master's degree or open our own business or a corporate career. So we're the first females, mostly in our families, who have opportunities who nobody ever had before us. So growing up and not having that guidance around us, not looking at those, I don't want to say role models because that's not what it is the guidance in the home. It makes us feel that, can we really do this? So that's what fits the scarcity mindset. And I will share with you the most common ones. And I put a number next to each one because I would love for you to share in the chat which is the most common one that you have most constantly in your head, in your mind. I feel less capable or prepared than others. There are not enough opportunities for all. This is a big one for business owners. If I charge what I am worth, nobody will hire me. So we feel that we need to decrease our prices for us to have clients. I must sacrifice myself to make money. It has to be hard. This has been a big one for me growing up, because my parents used to say, you know, it's always hard, you know, so it has to, I have this belief that I work on with, that is, I have to make it hard for myself. It cannot be easy. And when it's easy and the money starts flowing in, oh, there's something strange about this. This may not last. And number 5, I feel self-conscious with the way I speak English. These are all limiting mindsets that comes from a scarcity mentality that are really pushing us back as Latinas and holding us back in the first world economy where we are, and with the amazing opportunities that are ready right now, waiting for us and opening up as we go. So I see that number 4, it's also common. Feel free to share where you are. And the important point here is these are all outdated and we need to release and change the CD and let this go. So let's decode scarcity a little further. There is inner scarcity and outer scarcity. Inner scarcity shows up when I'm not feeling good enough, when I'm uncomfortable with who I am, and I heard this from many Latinas, I feel there is something wrong with me. I feel that I need to change who I am to succeed, because if I show up in the world exactly as I am, people will not like me. It also shows up as bypassing growth opportunities, thinking, you know what, this is not for me. Somebody else will be more equipped to do this work. This is not something that I am comfortable doing. And also not asking for what I want. And this is beyond the careers and the professions, is at home, right? Asking for help, asking for support, asking for somebody who can listen and hear what we're going through. Also asking for salary increases, asking for promotions. We know that we don't do that enough. And the root of this inner scarcity is mostly that we feel not deserving. We feel not deserving of those opportunities, of that money, of those amazing clients, and of a happy life. And as I said before, this could be unconscious. You may not even be realizing this is running you in a way. So there is also outer scarcity, and the outer scarcity manifests when we feel there are not enough opportunities for all. So as Latinas, we start to compete and we start to become jealous of each other, right? Because we feel there is not enough. And when I was doing my research and my interviews for this book, talking to some Latinas, I said, you know what, Valeria, now that a board seat is opening, because we were not in boards before, now that a board seat is opening for a Latina, it's many of us who want that seat. So we compete, we don't share information, you know, we become very competitive and jealous because all of us want that one seat, without really considering that the first Latina that gets in the board can open the door for others. So that's how we need to really tear down this scarcity mentality. And here you may wonder and say, yes, this is true. I can see how I have this scarcity mindset, but I have accomplished. I went to college, I have this business, I have this successful career. So I don't see how this mindset is really keeping me back, because yes, it affects me in a way, but I still manifest. And I want to share you, here will become a little more personal, that manifesting with a scarcity mindset comes at a high price. And I have been there. So when you manifest from this place of not feeling good enough, or feeling that you don't fit the role, that you need to change yourself, there are things that go on inside of you. First of all, you may feel guilty. When you start making money, you feel guilty about it. It's like feel uncomfortable about making this money. Then you start overcompensating. It's like, I'm going to work super hard because now I need to demonstrate that they were right giving me the promotion or giving me the salary increase. So I need to work harder, longer hours, weekends. They need to see that I was worth that promotion or salary increase. We start disowning our victories. So we start saying, oh, I was in the right time at the right place. Or we start saying, yeah, you know, when we get a congratulations about something we did, we start saying that was not so hard at the end of the day. That's completely disowning our victory. So we need to embrace our wins. We need to be proud of that. And when somebody approaches us and says, you know, congratulations for a great job, that we say, thank you, without building any excuses for that, and own it, right? And also when you manifest from that place of not good enough and you're constantly proving yourself, you can end up with with a huge exhaustion and a burnout. And that happened to me 5 years ago. So life becomes this sort of never-ending test to prove ourselves. Now the question is, who are we proving ourselves to? This is not working out for us Latina, and you can see in the statistics, it's holding us back. So it's time that we turn the page. Now, how do we turn the page? Because there is a lot of healing that needs to take place. The word healing is extremely important here. We need to heal all of these shadows, all of these insecurities, all of these feelings that we don't deserve, so that we can stand in our power. And the first step is to understand our worth. So I will ask you, and please feel free to use the chat. How do you define your self-worth? And please be entirely honest. The money that I have, the feedback from my boss, a new promotion, the house that I own, the car that I drive. How do you define your self-worth? Think for a moment. Because if you define your self-worth with anything that is outside of you, anything, it will never, ever be enough, ever. There is always more. So our generation of Latinas, the one here today, us, we are being called to be the ones who break the chain for ourselves and for our generation and for our younger generations. So we are the ones living through these new times that require a new mindset. And for that, we need to do some work. So my invitation for you is that you start finding your self-worth inside of you, in you. How do you do that? Loving yourself. So we spoke about self-confidence and, you know, compassion, but there is no way you can have that unless you love yourself. And let me share that loving yourself is not an emotion, it is a decision. You can make the decision today to love yourself. And as you do that, you will be able to connect with your essence, call it your inner wisdom, your soul, your heart. You can give it any name, but it's so important that we start connecting with our true inner essence. As we start loving ourselves, we will become our best advocates. We will set boundaries. We will ask for what we need and what we want. We will become our best fans. And as we love ourselves, we will celebrate our victories. We will stop criticizing ourselves so much, finding what happened that was wrong, and we'll start supporting ourselves from a really genuine place of loving who we are exactly as we are. So this is something that you can start doing today. You can today make the decision. If you're ready, make the decision to love yourself today, right? Because it starts with each one of us, and then it spreads out into other Latinas, into our community. But there is also not only individual healing that needs to take place, there's also collective healing that needs to take place. And in that sense, the collective healing will come not only when each one of us really finds that flame within of loving ourselves and respecting ourselves exactly as we are and advocating for ourselves, but also when we really understand our collective power. So I will share with you some data because 70% of us, more than 70% of us, have no idea of how powerful we are as a community. We are disowning our collective greatness. So it's time that we own it. We are 60 million Latinos in the US. And in 40 years, we're going to be 30% of this nation. This means that 1 out of 3 women in the US in 40 years is going to be a Latina. 1 in 3, that's huge. 9 out of 10 of us graduate from high school, and we doubled the number of Latinas with college degrees in the last 10 years. That's huge. And as Latinas, and this was spoken before, we create businesses at 6 times the rate faster than any other group. We contribute $2.6 trillion to the US economy. This is huge. If Latinos were our own country, we would be the 8th largest economy on the planet. Out of 195 countries, almost 200 countries, we would be the 8th largest economy. That is how powerful Latinos in the US are. And we're super young, so the future is ours. 30% of Latinos are younger than 18 years old. And listen to this, 1 Latino turns 18 years old every 30 seconds. That's crazy. Our median age is 28 years old compared to 42 for non-Hispanic white. So we are definitely young. We are the future of the US. So that's how we need to stand in our power and realize all the power that we already have right now, let alone in 40 years when we're 30% of this country. And we have amazing collective cultural attributes. We are tech savvy, highest use of cell phones across any population, multicultural and multilingual, able to navigate cultures, languages, different audiences, family-oriented, collective thinkers. The US is more of an individual type of culture. What we contribute to this economy, to this country, is that sense of collectiveness, of group thinking, family values. And we are creative, passionate, and caring. So if you ever thought that we were less, as you can see, that's entirely outdated and very old thinking. We are definitely not less, and it's time to change that old mindset. So my question for you is, how can you best support yourself to operate from a space of self-esteem, possibility, and transformation? How can you best support yourself? Take a few seconds to think about it. What can you do differently starting today? And I will offer you a hint, micro steps. Any change that you want to make in life, it has to be done in a way that is sustainable. Think about how you learned to walk. You just didn't stand up and run. You took small steps, you fell, you tried again, you were grabbing to the furniture, holding on and walking slowly. So this is how we start, right? So to create any huge change and impact in our lives, we need to start with micro steps. I will offer you 3, and you can choose to do any or bring your own. Spend 10 minutes a day with yourself, listening to your needs. How do you love yourself? Just get to know who you are. If you love somebody, you want to spend time with that person. So to love yourself, spend time with you, even 10 minutes a day, with music, in nature, in silence, you name it, but spend time with you. Reach out to your tribe. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. We have not shared our stories enough, not our pains, not our victories. So we all need that safe space with our Latina tribe, that where we can allow ourselves to open up and share what's going on in our lives and share our victories and our wins and our dreams and our fears. And lastly, consider reprogramming your mindset with abundance narratives. And I will help you a little bit with this. We need to pivot. As we pivot our businesses, we pivot our careers, we need to pivot our mindset. And pivoting the mindset is just about changing the CD. So you need to catch yourself immediately on the spot when you're having these limiting thoughts. And you need to tell yourself, enough of this. I'm going to change this. So if you have the old narrative of, I feel less capable or prepared than others, you can switch that to, I am capable of handling what comes my way. That is called being resourceful. When you think there are not enough opportunities for me, switch that to, I am finding the right opportunity for me. That's called being abundant. If you think, if I charge what I'm worth, nobody will hire me, think, if I charge what I'm worth, I will attract the right client for me. And that's called to feel valuable. I must sacrifice myself to make money. Change it to I can make money and keep my balance. That's called to put myself first, always. If I feel self-conscious with the way I speak English, I embrace my heritage and accent with pride. That's called I love myself exactly as I am, exactly as I am. So be very intentional in these micro steps. If you decide to use this abundance narrative, something that Lori and I were sharing that really works for us is to put sticky notes all over the house, to buy pillows with these messages, to have signs, anything that you can to reprogram yourself. So you're walking in your house, you're working, anywhere you go, you have these reminders of how amazing you are. Make it extremely intentional. So as a community, we need each other to move forward. And as you advance, and as you individually advance, all of us advance. That's the power of change when you change our mindset of scarcity into abundance, right? It starts in the mind. So you can choose today to either disempower yourself in your mind or to support yourself in your mind. My last message for you is, because this changed my life significantly, what somebody told this to me. Always make sure that you always win in your imagination. Always win in your mind, because it starts with your thoughts and it becomes real in the reality, in the world, in the community. So always win in your mind. Thank you so much.
Gracias, Valeria. One of the things that I was thinking about as I heard you walk us through your presentation and all of these great insights is that, to your point, individually and as a collective, and as I think about our audience today and all of the powerful Latinas that are on the line, is think about this fact. Despite of maybe perhaps the way that, things that happened in your past that were potentially, not positive, in spite of the fact that some of us came to this country not knowing how to speak the language, not knowing how to navigate the culture. That was like horrible. I mean, when I moved here, I was 16 and they put me in the middle of this classroom where I was probably the only Latina. And regardless of all of that, we have risen to the occasion, we have conquered many challenges, and we have achieved all this greatness. And so when we think about these scripts that, and Valeria and I talk about this, it's almost like your operating system is getting hacked by some old scripts, right, that were placed in there when you were younger. But regardless of those, we have achieved greatness. But what could we achieve if we get rid of all those scripts that are still just they're like little glitches that just come here and there and just annoy you sometimes. So what could we achieve? What could that future be like? For those of you who have your own businesses and are thinking about expanding your business, growing the bottom line, improving your profitability, what could you achieve? And you think about that. So again, what I love about what Valeria has done with us today is that, she's alerted us about the possibility that maybe there's some scripts that are running, right, unconsciously that we're not aware of, but they manifest themselves in thoughts or perhaps behaviors. And then she's given us the new scripts, right? How could we do it differently moving forward? And so for me, yes, I live with my sticky notes all over the place, putting all these wonderful positive new scripts around me. And so thank you again, Valeria, because this is just invaluable information. And I hope that we all do something different. Having said that, I do have a couple of questions that I wanted to connect with you further, Valeria, on. And one of them is, at times we might feel as though we have to put, out our wants and needs aside in order to make our family feel loved, supported, protected. That's kind of how we grew up, right? How can we shift that mindset so that we start taking care of ourselves without feeling guilty?
That's a big one for Latinas, because we have this collective mindset and the family orientation, we always tend to put ourselves last. And when we do something for ourselves, we think we need to ask for permission or we feel guilty. So it's a mindset that we need to work extremely hard on, and it's changing the way you see your life and really understanding that it's like in the plane with the oxygen mask. First, you put the mask on yourself, and then you can help others. We do so much for our businesses, careers, families, parents, kids, friends. We do so much for others, right? That we run the risk of depleting ourselves to exhaustion. And when that happens, there is nothing we can give. Also, we may, find ourselves being irritated or upset or, nervous. So because we haven't taken care of ourselves in the most basic ways, we haven't slept well enough, we have not eaten healthy food. So those are the basics that we need to start with, and taking care of our emotional life as well. But definitely the message is put yourself first. And if you feel guilty about taking care of yourself first, watch out, because behind that guilt, there is this belief of not deserving. So whenever you feel guilt, take a look deeper and see, why am I feeling that I do not deserve to take time for myself, to do this that is important for me, to ask my family for a couple hours off. So look at that guilt, because it hides that feeling of non-deserving, that's exactly what we need to work with. And the magic of the healing happens when you really, again, love yourself. Even when you feel guilty, even when you feel not deserving, you still love yourself with those shadows, we can call it. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Valeria. One of the things that I know resonated, I could see it on the chat with our audience today, was, this thoughts of, if I charge what I want to charge, I'm not going to get the clients or whatnot. So, for those of us that might struggle with undervaluing ourselves or our services, how can we, what are some steps that we can take, right, in combating that potential imposter syndrome?
Great question. Extremely relevant, particularly today. So, and you said the word, what step can we take? Definitely action. The only way out of this is to take action. So I have been coaching many business owners, and this is what I tell them: you need to increase your price. No, but I'm afraid of doing this, because you have to increase your price. Go out after the next client and increase the price for the next client. I'm not saying increase across the board yet if you don't feel comfortable, but micro step. The next client, increase your price. See how you feel. See how that goes. Generally, because our pricing is so low, we undervalue ourselves so much, and that's data that shows across the nation we do that. Generally, that client will say yes, generally. And if the yes is not there, don't give up. Keep trying, right? Because that may not be the right client for you, right? So take the micro step, take the risk of charging your worth. Go out and ask. Figure out what the market value for what you do is, and do not be afraid to charge that. Take that action. Step out of your comfort zone, take the risk of charging it, see how you feel. And once you get that contract, celebrate that victory big time, and think about how you will continue expanding that throughout other clients. Taking action is the key.
Yes,
It's not in the head. Yes.
those are really amazing ideas and steps there, Valeria. So let's pivot a little bit. Um, and sometimes, and I know this happened to me a lot, especially when I was younger, coming into the States, in the middle of, Florida. Again, very, very small, almost non-existent Latino community there, but at the time it's Ocala, so don't think it's Orlando, because that's like mini Puerto Rico there. Um, Sometimes kind of having this feeling that we have one foot in our cultural heritage and the other one in the American experience, and kind of torn between them. How can we be present and true to ourselves, through our culture, in and kind of, be able to thrive in both worlds?
Excellent question. And what I can offer there is that we need to really call things by their name. And many in our community felt ashamed, either of our heritage, of our accent, of how people perceive us, the stereotypes, and we think we start changing. we think we need to start changing who we are. And that really drains our energy from manifesting the life we want, because it takes energy to change who you are. So I would say this: if you're going out in the world feeling that you're in two separate planets and you're struggling, instead of navigating, you're struggling, you need to look inside yourself and really be honest and see if you're judging any part of your heritage, any part of who you are. Because if you are struggling, there is a judgment happening there in you, because you're feeling that you need to change the person, the amazing person that you are, and everything you contribute, all that, the greatness that all of us Latinas bring, all that greatness and power, that we are shy, right? We are not so visible as we should be. We have been hiding a little bit in a way. So think about, look inside, always look inside. The world is reflecting what's happening in you. So look inside and see, am I ashamed of anything? Do I feel that I need to change who I am to fit in a stereotype, to fit in a mold that is being, pushed on us in a way? Do I feel judgment towards who I am, how I speak, how I show up? To start healing that part of you. The work starts inside with you.
Thank you again, Valeria, for such wonderful insights. Judging by all of the great input on the chat, this has been very valuable and has resonated with us. Especially as I think about myself, how you talked about, it takes energy, right? To really go against who we are, to just really live with radical honesty and really be proud. I would just say proud.
Yes, well,
It's not just saying be okay, it's just be proud of what you bring to the table. And so thank you again for all of these wonderful things that you have shared with us. I want to encourage all of you to join us again on August 12th, because Valeria is going to be joining the next Latina Style, and we're going to continue this conversation. It will not be the same content. It's going to be looking at a different type of mindset. And so again, thank you so very much for your engagement with us today. Thank you, Valeria. And remember that Nationwide is on your side. And Roberto, please take it away.
thank you.